Okay, last up, I swear, and this is a bit off book because I don't normally have stuff like this. Well, sometimes I do. But anyways, at our family Christmas back in November for my mom's side, because there's so many people, we have it so early. We have a gift auction, so you have to kind of pick a gift with the money you have, fake money you have, and you can get one gift, you can get no gifts, you can get a whole bunch of gifts depending on how you spend your money and who else wants what you're after. And one of them was tailored particularly towards me by my cousin Ez, who serves as the auctioneer, and it was Star Wars related, and I ended up getting all these friggin' Star Wars books inside of it, so it was awesome. First up, a really thick collection here called Star Wars Infinites. This is kind of 4 different storylines. The first 3 all centering around the original trilogy and what would have happened if. So, for Star Wars, what would have happened if Luke's shot had not destroyed the Death Star and it had continued on in operation and the rebellion hadn't scored that massive victory at Yavin? What would be the trickle-down effects of that? For Empire Strikes Back, what if when Luke got caught by the Wampa and ended up freezing to death on the surface of Hoth rather than being rescued by Han? Who becomes the last hope for the rebellion then, if with Luke out of the way, right? So, trickle-down effects of that. And then Return of the Jedi, what happens if Leia and Lando and Chewie's rescue attempt on Tatooine to get Han back from Jabba went awry? What would be the trickle-down effects from that? So they give all these different storylines of what could have happened if, and things get a little bit crazy in certain situations, and it's a really cool read. And then the last story is actually when George Lucas wrote Star Wars, it was originally called The Star Wars, and there was a lot of changes that went through the works from that original kind of story to what Star Wars ended up becoming. A lot of the same names and themes and places, but kind of rearranged and sort of thing. So it was really different, and that's what the cover is. You'll see these characters don't quite look familiar. They look kind of familiar, like you could see who's who, but they all look very different, right? So it's kind of his original story brought to life in graphic novel form, and it's kind of cool to see it play out. I've heard about it before in the past, but it hadn't been a cohesive story before, right? So we get to see that happen in this book. Next up, Star Wars, Collection 1. And some of these I actually have snippets of from collections I've got from Dollarama, but not the whole thing. So I get to see them all play out in full in these. So in this one, this is the one where, I don't have the start of it, but now I get to read the start of it, or have read the start of it now. Leia and Han and Chewie and the droids pose as liaisons of Jabba the Hutt's, let's say, and they travel to this Imperial weapons factory where Han is kind of the guy who's in charge, and basically they're there to blow it up and deal a crippling blow to the Empire. But things, of course, go awry. They end up getting chased by the Imperials and Darth Vader and have to escape and all that. And eventually, after all the chasing and stuff is done, Luke decides that he needs to go off and find out what he's all about, you know. Am I a Jedi? Am I not a Jedi? Sort of thing. So he goes off and visits Tatooine, I believe it is, where he ends up finding Obi-Wan Kenobi's journal and starts reading through it. And it's basically Ben's stories of his life on Tatooine after the Republic fell and during his time of looking after Luke and making sure he was safe. So Luke's not sure exactly what good all the information is, but he's delighted to have found this of Ben's and having, starting to read through it. In the meantime, Leia and Han escape to this system, but they're pursued by this strange ship, and on the surface of this planet, they are confronted by someone claiming to be Santa Solo, Han's wife. Leia's like, "What the hell, you're married?" And he's like, "No, I'm not." And then so the truth comes out as they're arguing that it was a heist they were up to, and they had to pretend to get married. So they actually are kind of married, even though it was a fake ceremony. But they are, but they're not, right? But it was all for the sake of the heist, not for real. But before long, they're attacked by the Empire, and have to beat a hasty retreat and kind of put their differences beside them, sort of thing. Luke, in the meantime, travels to Nar Shaddaa is where he went, and he gets taken captive by somebody named Gracchus the Hutt, who owns the largest collection of Jedi artifacts and stuff. And so he is basically forced to fight in this arena against this beast, where the games master, a guy with a lightsaber, kind of guides Luke through the process and says he's going to train him, but he's also going to die, sort of thing. So, and in the meantime, Chewie goes to rescue Luke, meets up with Dengar the bounty hunter, and a battle ensues there before Han and Leia can arrive and set things to rights as they end up rescuing Luke, or attempt to rescue Luke from the arena and Gracchus the Hutt's possession, sort of thing. So, next up, same collection, but just issue 2, so it continues on. And I don't know if you remember this, but in one of my Dollarama ones, there's this Imperial spy named Eneb, who is stationed on Coruscant, and he goes to Leia, gives him a mission that there's a whole bunch of senators that have been taken captive by the Empire, and they're set for interrogation, probably execution. So he goes to rescue them, but learns that the Emperor is going to be showing up personally to talk to these senators, and he's like, we got a chance to take a shot at the Emperor and kill this clown. So they take it. Leia authorizes a mission, but the Emperor is actually, it's a body double, and the real Emperor is there watching, but he's like, gotcha, you suck, right? He takes off. Eneb is assumed dead in all the action that takes place afterwards. It then pans forward to Leia and Sana Solo, or Sana Starros, as her real name is, as they take a prisoner to this New Republic, or I guess rebel prison that is stationed outside of a sun. And they have Dr. Aphra in their possession, who is a close confidant of Darth Vader, and they're taking her to the maximum security prison, this place that's stationed right outside of Sun, where nobody can get in and nobody can get out, unless you're authorized to. So they drop her off there, but all of a sudden the station is attacked by this rogue force, and the person in charge of this attack doesn't want to kill Leia or any of the rebels. He wants to kill all of the prisoners within the prison, and he's talking to Leia like he knows her, and he's like, you're too weak, you can't make the hard decisions, you want to save these criminals rather than feed them into the sun where they belong. So this kind of battle as Leia and Sana fight for their lives and also try and save all these prisoners, it comes to a head and they face off against this guy, and it ends up being Eneb, who's all burnt and scarred up from his experience on Coruscant trying to save those senators and attack the Emperor. And he's obviously become bitter and angry and corrupted by his experience, and wants the universe to pay. And you can't blame him for wanting to dump a bunch of prisoners into a sun. Like, you can understand that, but at the same time, he's a bit fanatical, right? So that's what kind of happens. And they're actually, Han and Luke are off trying to buy some equipment for the rebellion. Han gambles away all their credits, so they have to do some smuggling. They smuggle some nerfs. It doesn't go well, but they end up hearing the distress call from the prison and end up trying to save the day for Leia and Sana, but just end up getting involved in the whole fray. Also, there's some more excerpts from Luke reading Ben's journal, and then the issue is capped off as the rebellion attempts to, with a small skeleton crew, steal an Imperial Star Destroyer called the Harbinger, and they pull it off, only it's vastly damaged in the fight, and they've only got like Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, and maybe 20 or 30 rebel soldiers to man a Star Destroyer, which normally is crewed by like 2,000, right? So, and they're on their way to this system where they hope to play a pivotal role in an Imperial occupation of a world that they're kind of cutting off from resources and stuff like that. But they've got their problems as this team of bizarre cast-off stormtroopers ends up infiltrating the Harbinger and decimating the rebel forces as they move through the ship. And in the end, it comes down to this fight within the Harbinger against these stormtroopers, just as the Harbinger shows up at the system they intend to rescue. And the final battle is Luke versus this one stormtrooper, the leader of the bunch, that has a lightsaber. he ends up being the game master back from Gracchus's arena, and they have a final battle sort of thing, and that's how the issue ends as the rebels gain yet another victory. But the only problem is 3PO gets captured in the process. All the rebels get away, they accomplish their mission, but 3PO is captured. And the problem is I don't have any more issues after that, so I don't know what happens to 3PO.